Welcome to RevLabs by PriceLabs.
Hi everyone, I'm Thibault Masson from PriceLabs, and welcome to this special episode of RevLabs by PriceLabs. When I first had the idea for this podcast, it was just that, a simple idea. But thanks to the hard work of our fantastic team, the incredible insights from our guests, and the unwavering support of you, our listeners, it's grown into something truly meaningful. I couldn't be more grateful to all of you for making this happen. Before we jump in, let's celebrate some amazing milestones for this year. We have more than 100 followers on Spotify. We reach out 10,000 impressions, more than 4,500 views on YouTube, an incredible number of 700 plus hours of watch time. And we only launched this by late September. And this is already the best part, is that today we're celebrating our 25th episode, a huge achievement for our first season. So over the course of 24 episodes, we've tackled everything from dynamic pricing strategies to insider tips from revenue managers. Today, I'm excited to share my top 5 favorite snippets, short but powerful moments I think are especially valuable for revenue managers in large vacation rental companies. Let's dive in. The first one is about group listings for efficiency. Jordan Locke shared a brilliant analogy about how grouping listings by location or category can make managing large portfolios more effective. Let's hear it.
If you're a teacher, right, and you're going on a field trip, there's too many kids to manage. You have to break them into groups. You have to get chaperones, and then it's much easier to kind of manage that group. And so it's great because it's easier. It takes some of the stress off you, maybe splits it up, makes it more manageable. But it also means you have to have more chaperones or more revenue managers, right, looking at this stuff when you do it. And it also means there's kind of more papers to grade at the end of the day. So you just kind of have to balance how many groups it is. But what it does is it just makes it more manageable chunks.
The second one is about starting with data. Ben Coleman explained why it's crucial to analyze your own pacing data before jumping into market comparisons. This approach can make it all the difference in fine-tuning your portfolio strategies.
I always like to look at your own data first before we get necessarily chasing after the market or looking at market data. We always like to, especially right now coming into the new year, if you're stateside, you're in a Gatlinburg, you're in a Destin, Florida, you're in one of those more legacy vacation rental markets, you're starting to get really close to booking season. So what we would recommend before we start looking at the market is, how are we pacing year over year? Where are the weaknesses in our portfolio in consideration to pace? And then look at market data. See if the market's weaknesses are matching yours.
The third one is about metrics that matter. François Guello from Enso Connect simplified success by insisting, for example, that you only focus on 2 or 3 metrics, such as additional revenue per listing or guest experience improvement. Let's hear his take.
A business can be run on 2 or 3 metrics. At Enso, we run it on MRR, churn, and burn, and that's it, to keep it simple. So the one metric I would look at is how much additional revenue per listing per month are you generating? Is it covering your tech stack? Is it adding additional revenue that you could use towards improving some of your properties or acquiring new properties and so on? The secondary metric I would look at is any improvements in your guest experience. So the first one tells you, am I making money? The second one tells you, am I nickeling and diming my guests? Is it frustrating them effectively? And this leads to the question of, what is the format in which you're presenting these upsells and these fees?
The fourth one is about planning further out. In one of the episodes, John Ann emphasized the importance of securing occupancy further in advance for 2025. His insight highlights how adapting to new booking trends can give you a competitive edge.
What worked last year or the year before is not going to work, in 2025. And I think that's what this is showing are the folks who kind of adjusted and said, oh, you know what, maybe I should start trying to get the occupancy for January, February of 2025 now, rather than waiting for the traditional booking window. I think things are kind of in flux right now. I guess that's really what I'm trying to say.
And the fifth one, well, had to do with market trends. And Sarah Franzen shared why staying flexible and preparing for changing market trends is critical for success in revenue management. Let's hear her advice.
We're seeing that not just in Florida, right? We're seeing
Yep.
it across the country. We're seeing it in multiple markets. And that is, because there is some uncertainty, you've had this trend for years, right, of how people typically do things, and that's changing. And so you don't know how that's going to change. So you kind of have to prepare for everything. And I think that what you're seeing, to John's point, is, maybe people need to actually be paying attention further out. I will gladly take additional base on the books right now, further out, and not take that risk. I can always yield up.
So this podcast wouldn't exist without the dedication and talent of our team. I want to mention, for example, Becca Madigan and Kyle Driskell, and thank them for their thoughtful hosting, engaging discussion throughout these episodes. Aditya Mertia, our product specialist team, who's been instrumental in supporting our listeners. And Sora Paul, your behind-the-scenes magic has made every episode a success. So to you, our audience, you are the reason this podcast exists. Your feedback, shares, and engagement mean the world to us. Thank you for being part of this journey. And here's the exciting part. We're just getting started. In 2025, we're bringing you even more episodes, new formats, incredible guest speakers. There's so much to look forward to, and I can't wait to share it all with you. So if you haven't already, make sure to follow us on Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, and check us out on Apple Podcasts. Let's make 2025 even bigger together. Thank you, and see you next year.